Previously on The Heels of Terror.
Sasa wenye wawili walikuja kitambo wafike sasa hapa kwenye watoto wako walikuja kama wameopen fire alafu wakarusha grenade.
This bullet hit the wall. It missed my son's head just like that, and it hit the little boy next to him.
I was shot in the back. I felt that my stomach had been, the abdomen has been perforated.
The guy who is inside the shop knows the guy has fallen down. It's like he knows we are going to pick that guy.
Sasa tukaambiana vile tutafanya hapa kutateremka mbio, kila mtu aende achukue pila au utafute cover nyingine.
It looked like a war zone, basically. Some of the most horrible things I had personally seen in my life.
The pattern.
We understand they are in cells. Most of these cells are dormant, but they can be activated at a very short time. That farmer you knew can take up firearm and be the terror next door.
The radical thinking.
For the attackers, it is allowed in Islam. We cannot be slaughtered everywhere in the world and just sit and cry.
Those who perpetrated slavery could quote the Quran and could quote the Bible. This is the high time we said enough is enough.
Kusimama katika huu ulimwengu lazima shingo za makafiri zishughulikiwe. Bila kuchonga na kuzifyeka hizi shingo za makafiri haitasimama.
The Al-Hijra network uses radical clerics who twist interpretations of the Quran to radicalize young Kenyans.
Na watu wataingia katika dini ya silaha.
Names like Abu Drogo, Khalid, Samir Khan, Sheikh Makaburi feature in this list.
They are cheated that you are now going to assist your people. They are suffering because of this infidel. Now we are sending you to assist them so that if you go there you will get people.
Mtu kushiriki katika jihad mpaka afe katika jihad apate shahada, mwanzo damu yake inapomwagika dhambi zake zote husamehewa.
Sana alikuwa akiongelea kuhusu jihadi kwamba Somalia kuna Waislamu na wako katika hali ngumu na wananyanyasika. Kuna majeshi mengi wananyanyasa Waislamu. So kama Muislamu inabidi uende ukatoe support kwa ndugu zako. Kwa ile kitu mimi kutokana na kidogo imani yangu ilikuwa nimejengeka katika dini na mimi ndo nikajikuta kwamba naunga safari.
These are 3 Tanzanian teenagers. They're in Kenyan police custody. They were arrested at Ras Kamboni inside Somalia by the KDF during Operation Lindanchi. The boys were on their way to Kismayu to link up with hundreds of new Al-Shabaab recruits. They confessed that the late Sheikh Rogo's summons inspired their journey.
Wafundisheni watoto wenu kuogelea na kupiga, kujifundisha kurusha risasi. Na utajifundisha wapi kurusha risasi? Somalia mbure, muhimu wewe ingie tu. Ukishaingia risasi utapewa bure, bunduki utapewa bure, utapiga wewe.
Some of those children you are seeing being what we are calling radicalized, but I'm calling it criminalized. I have not heard any other message. Actually, they don't think any other message exists. When a young boy walks from Tanzania to Somalia on foot, it tells you one thing. There is a huge gap which we need to address from our education system and from a rule of law perspective, that there are things which are not done here.
Ukitoka hapo kenda huko utapata wanawake 60 na pepo. Sasa ndio hivyo, mtu ukifikiria kwanza, yani usifanye kwanza jambo ndio unafikiria kwanza, unachunguza kwanza kwamba nitakupeleka wapi kwanza.
Na atapewa wanawake 72 katika hurul ain. Ni wanawake 72 katika hurul ain. ambao wanawake hao ni uzuri ambao hauwezi ukaelezeka.
Hundreds of Kenyan teenagers before them have successfully taken this journey to Somalia. Some have died in combat. But some have been instructed to return home to join a sleeper cell in Kenya or Tanzania and await their mission. Al-Hijra is a group believed to control Kenyan terror cell members.
Ewe kijana ambaye kwamba una hamu na una nia kuipigania dini ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, na una nia ya kupata janna, na una nia ya kufa kuuawa kama shahidi, basi ninakupa siri ambayo kwamba hapo pale ulipo unaweza vile vile pia na wewe ukawa ni mmoja kuitekeleza hii ibada ambayo kwamba ni ibada ya jihad.
When that young man comes back, he's a terrorist. But he won't tell you. He's just the same man you knew, your son, a good boy, not until he puts his radicalism into action. Then you know this is a terrorist.
Suddenly, terrorism in Kenya is no longer a foreign problem. The terror is within. At Shimo La Tewa prison, we meet a prisoner in remand. His name, Thabiti Yahya. At face value, this is just another ordinary Kenyan youth. He grew up in Kibera. However, Thabiti is the person charged with the grenade bombing of Bella Vista, a popular nightclub in Mombasa, on May 15th, 2012.
Sasa nilipokaa pale mlangoni pale, kuna watu wawili walikuwa watakuingia. Watu watatu watakuingia ndani, wakawa beba bag zao. Sasa lazima yani kila mara mtu akitaka kwa club lazima usachiwe ndio ingie kwa club, kila mtu. Sasa wale walikataa kusachiwa. Sasa walisema sisi hatuwezi sachiwa sisi. Na basi kama huwezi sachiwa basi huwezi ingia ndani.
Upon being denied entry, the three are said to have crossed the road and hurled 3 grenades at the entrance of Bella Vista.
Tukashtukia tu mlipuko, unaona? Ikalipuka tu mara moja. Hasa ilipolipuka mimi kaangalia chini na moto yawaka. Alafu nimeona kitu kama jichuma hivi ya. Najibingirika hivi, unaona?
5 persons are injured. A female security guard is pierced by shrapnel on her chest and dies.
Huyo mwanamke aitwa Mary huyo alikufa na alikuwa na watoto 3. Unaona? Sasa hivi alipofariki bana, hiyo kisanga mambo yasikitisha sana. Kwa sababu gani? Yeye ndio kila kitu. Hana bwana, hana mtu yote. Alipokuwa Mombasa pale kwa yeye peke yake, anaishi peke yake na watoto wake. Alipokufa, sasa watoto wake wamebaki hivyo hivyo, unaona? Hakuna yeye ndio kalabrarina katika hiyo familia.
Ironically, Thabiti is also injured in the attack. One of the grenades falls and shatters his left foot. ATPU Mombasa boss trucks Thabiti to the hospital where he sought treatment alongside the victims. His bus ticket leads the investigators to his luggage. They find a magazine loaded with 8 rounds of ammunition. They arrest and charge him for the attack. While in remand at Shimo La Tewa, Thabiti reveals a disturbing revelation of his dangerously radical line of thinking.
Nimezaliwa Muslim kwanza niko mtoi. Lakini sasa ile nikaanza kupractice labda Islam. Niko na ile environment si poa sana na mimi. Kwa sababu mfano kama hata kitu kama news, kupata news unapata huyo demu yani hajafunika nywele ni.
Thabiti says he's been unable to fully practice his faith in an environment he describes as haram, an Arabic term meaning sinful.
Kitu kama interest kwa Kiislamu ni haram. Hiyo music, madem na mameni skat town. Vitu nyingi kwa Muislamu ni haram.
He left Kenya for Saudi Arabia, then to other countries where the strict version of Sharia law was in practice. One of the places he lived, ATPU alleges, is Somalia.
I think it Al-Shabaab wameofa Somalia, wameofa Sharia law strict. Sasa watu wengi unapata not only from Pumwani labda na from Europe, America, watu wengi sana wakapata wakisikia Somalia kuna Sharia, wengi wakamove na familia zao na watu wao.
The police believe Thabiti is a classic case of cell activations and that more cells are dotted across Kenya. Their evidence is in the over 80 attacks within 2 years. Nairobi bears 30% of these attacks, Mombasa another 25%. These attacks bear the same character. 1 or 2 assailants who used hand grenades and AK-47s. 24th October 2011. A grenade explosion leaves 1 person dead and 20 wounded in downtown Fangano Street. The same day, a grenade is tossed out of a moving vehicle into the Machakos bus terminus. 5 people die, 69 are injured. 18th November 2012. An explosion on a matatu in Isli near a mosque kills 10 people. 25 are seriously injured. 2012 would end on the same streak as another explosion near Hidayah Mosque in Isli on the 7th of December kills 5 people and injures 8, among them the area MP Abdi Yusuf Hassan. This escalation hits Mombasa in 2012. The attack on Bella Vista in May 2012, suspected to be by Thabit Yahya, is the first of 18 attacks within 2 years. A month after Bella Vista, another grenade explosion claims 3 lives and 30 injuries at Jericho Beer Garden in Mishomoroni, Kisauni. 16th October 2012. Acting on a tip-off, ATPU lays siege to a house in Changamwe suspected to have Al-Shabaab cell members. The 2 suspects instead blow themselves up to avoid capture. 2 policemen are killed. 5 more are injured. The worst hit is Garissa in northeastern Kenya. 35 attacks so far. Sunday, 1st July 2012. Masked gunmen stage a double attack on 2 churches in Garissa. 17 worshippers are murdered in cold blood. 66 are injured. In November 2012, the chapel that serves administration police officers in Garissa is attacked by a grenade. The chaplain is killed. 14 AP officers are injured. On 16th January 2013, Al-Shabaab gunmen shoot dead 5 people, among them a prison warder, and injured 3 others at a restaurant in Garissa. 18th April 2013, 4 armed men walked into the Kwachege Hotel in Garissa and start shooting. 6 people die, 10 others seriously wounded.
We have never seen a terrorist going to a barrack, a military barrack, targeting a military barrack. No. Because these people, they are selfish and they are also cowards. What they want to do, they want only to be heard that they have done something, to force the government to maybe to yield with their demands, which is not possible.
What is now clear is that these are not random attacks. These Al-Shabaab cells are coordinated, well-funded, and calculated to cause maximum harm to Kenyan civilians and security agents. Mombasa is on the spotlight. Mosques. Here, they target children between the ages of 6 and 18, with teachings that emphasize becoming a shaheed or dying for the faith.
There are people who, within that madrasa, called normally called scouts. Within that class of madrasa, the scouts will again come in and check on among 30 now from other regions who among them can become terrorists.
Masjid Musa Mosque in Majengo has several times appeared in terror alerts as a recruitment center. A police operation in February 2014 to stop a jihadist convention succeeds in yielding more evidence that there are more things happening within Masjid Musa than meets the eye. This is the mosque the late Abu Drogo preached in. Sheikh Makaburi, who for 2 years has been placed on the UN terror alert list as an Al-Hijra contact, defends the presence of Al-Shabaab flags at the mosque and denies a police charge of the presence of weapons.
The reason that the policemen were killed was, 1, the youth inside the mosque were fighting for their lives. They had every right. There were no weapons in the mosque. Those flags that were put up here is, to us Muslims, are like the cross to Christians. They do not belong to Al-Shabaab. They do not belong to any group in the world.
If my emblem is a gun and my preaching is shoot, whom am I intending to shoot? Is it the devil I am planning to shoot with a firearm? These questions must be asked and these questions must be answered. And if the answer is such that it is likely to affect the freedom of even the least of Kenyans, the rights and the freedoms of even the least of Kenyans, then we must tell such a person in clear and uncertain and legal terms that not here.
Closer examination of the flags found at the mosque reveals Al-Shabaab's influence. The official logo of the Al-Shabaab has an open Quran and two crossed AK-47 rifles. Many jihadist movements across the world identify themselves with the weapons arranged in a specific style as symbols of their militancy. In the last 4 months, radical youths have forcibly taken over some mosques, throwing out moderate clerics and replacing them with radical preachers.
Normally, any person who wants to preach in that mosque must seek for permission from the imam, and the imam must inform the committee chairman. If he is given the go-ahead, then that preacher must be given the permission to come to the mosque and preach.
There is no Muslim religious leader who can approach this mosque. They know that because they have been bought and paid for. If it is not by the Kenyan government, then by the Israeli government or by the American government. The youth do not believe in them, they do not follow them, they do not respect them.
Sheikh Abu Drogo used to preach his mind, and when he was killed, his followers were still using the mosque for the same purpose, radicalization and violence.
When youths walk into the mosque armed with guns, pangas, knives, we want to ask sheikhs and imams, where are they? Where is their leadership?
The fact of the matter is that against this affront, against the fate of children with bullets in their heads, we are trying to pretend things are normal. Our acquiescence as a society in this matter takes the first blame.
Jukumu ya Supreme Council na baraza lolote katika Kenya inatoa kwa mkoa vidole, anasema we ile kitendo ambayo unafanya ni kitendo ya kinyume ya dini ya Kiislamu. Hii incitement ambayo kufuruga amani ni wewe juu yako, waacha hii maneno. Asiposikia. Sasa hii jukumu inahama inaenda kwa serikali. Asiposikia sauti ya baraza la wakuu.
If we have leadership in our religious circles, leadership in our academia, which is cowardly, which is not prepared to protect the Constitution, certainly you are going to see criminals walking around and enjoying a lot of impunity.
What started in 2011 as isolated cases of radical clerics
mpaka mwisho wa tone letu la damu lianguke, lakini tuhakikishe wewe kafiri umetoka katika ardhi hii ya Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, na wewe ukiwa kafiri vile vile. Insha Allah hatutaatana na nyinyi.
Radicalized youths.
Sisi tunanyanyaswa Uislamu, lakini inshallah itasimama. Nikimpata leo kichwa changu halali yake, nitamchinja, ameniua, amenifanyisha makosa mimi.
And clandestine trips to Somalia comes full circle with the attack on the Westgate Mall in 2013. A 2013 UN report says Kenyans currently comprise a large group of non-Somali Al-Shabaab fighters. The question is, how many youths have been recruited? How many cells exist in Kenya under the radar? These sleeper cells are believed to be responsible for the wave of attacks that have hit Kenya in the last 2 years. While between 1975 to 2005, Kenya registered close to 6 terror attacks, between 2011 and this 2014, 80 attacks have occurred. Stopping them now requires a multifaceted strategy. It includes cutting off the supply chain of recruits and dismantling the cell's leadership. But the ATPU acknowledges some little discussed challenges: the threshold of evidence against crimes of terror. Sometimes evidence of training with the Al-Shabaab and crossing back to Kenya may not be enough to sustain a conviction. Michael Adebolajo's case is another example. In 2010, he is arrested and charged in Mombasa by Kenya's ATPU. He and a group of youths had attempted to take a boat to cross into Somalia.
These people, they are mistreating us and we are innocent, believe me.
But he is a British passport holder. He is released from custody at the request of British officials. 3 years later, 22nd of May 2013, Adebolajo and a colleague ran over a British Army soldier, Lee Rigby. They use a knife to stab him to death. Then they attempt to cut his head off using a meat cleaver.
We have killed this man today is because Muslims are dying daily by British soldiers. And this British soldier is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
British jury confirms what the Kenyan authorities believed right from the start. Adebolajo is an Al-Shabaab terrorist. He and his colleague Michael Adeboane are sentenced to life in prison. Even for the Kenyan authorities, it was a tough call. Arresting Adebolajo was a preemptive strike. He was yet to commit a crime. Under the 24-hour rule, he could secure his freedom.
You arrest a person you suspect. You don't even know. You suspect. By the time you unravel who this is, then you start now gathering the evidence. 24 hours have elapsed. So it's a challenge, a big one. It's a real big one. It's not like the ordinary criminal cases where you have a complainant and then you get the suspect. This one has no complainant. Nobody will come and tell you, my son is a terrorist.
When the United States of America came and attacked, in terms of terrorism, there was an immediate response. In the United Kingdom, the law on custody, the law that guides police work, changed within 42 hours after the subway train bombing. We are taking too long to comprehensively and effectively respond to a very dangerous situation.
Many experts feel the Westgate attack is a clear wake-up call that should summon a firm response to dismantle terror cells.
Terrorism is not like any other ordinary crime. So if they are going to be lumped together with other crimes, we might lose it. And we don't want to lose our country to terrorists.
That they can come up with new pills that will be able to address some of the challenges that we are facing as a country. Because a good example is that somebody is charged with the offense of murder, or somebody is charged with the offense of terrorist attack. And that person is free because the offense is bailable. He is free to be released on bond and he can appear before court any one given time that the court has allowed. But to a common mwananchi, you will see as if the police are the people who release these criminals.
Every day, we get terror threats all over. Many. We have foiled so many. I can speak with authority that in any given day, we get an average of 10 terror threats.
Improved human intelligence and information sharing between different agencies yields big results, like the capture of 15 kilograms of RDX at the Mombasa Golf Club. For months, the ATPU knew a consignment of RDX had been shipped from an unknown country. The destination was Kenya.
The RDX can be used as an explosive.
1 kilogram can flatten a high building.
The potential of what the 15 kilograms of RDX could have accomplished defies imagination in terms of destructive power.
Imagine putting these substances in a container from Iran to Kenya and coming here to pick it before it landed. We went to the container depot to search for those containers and we opened the containers and there was nothing. They intercept before landing. Before the container was removed, they changed even the seal.
In the weeks that followed, the ATPU zeroes in on the key characters involved with this deadly consignment. The two suspects, Ahmad Abul Fati Mohammed and Saeed Mansour Musavi, were sentenced to life in prison by a Nairobi court. It's the first big successful preemptive conviction of terrorism in Kenya. The scenario that terror cells are being sheltered by some religious figures can no longer be ignored. Cooperation between authorities and Islamic institutions is key on checking the misuse of places of worship to preach violence.
The minute a man openly says that if you don't believe, if you don't share my religious belief, you should be killed, where is your freedom? Where is your freedom of worship? Where is the constitution?
Going back is not an option. The stakes are too high. This mission has suffered setbacks and many sacrifices have been borne by officers on the heels of terror and its agents. Over 100 Kenyan policemen have lost their lives in the fight against terrorism. The Kenya Police Service is confident this is a battle that must and will be won. And they also count on support and goodwill by a nation, even though occasionally challenged, believes its resolve to remain united can and will stand the test of time.
I call on Kenyans to stand courageous and united. Let us not sacrifice our values and dignity to appease cowards. Our victory must be conclusive. Let us defeat them with our unity. I also ask Kenyans to remember that these officers are putting their lives on the line for the greater good. Therefore, give them due consideration and prayer.
Simple happy days.